Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm talking about a pen model from Platypus Pens. Platypus Pens is run by Michael Liu here in Australia, in Melbourne to be more precise, and he 3D prints fountain pens, doing all the coding himself, all of that, with only a small amount of parts, things like feed, sometimes plastic, sometimes ebonite, nibs, and some little, rods and mechanisms and things like that. He 3D prints these pens entirely himself. And a little while ago, I got hold of this pen. This is the Model 2. It is the smaller sibling, if you will, of the Model 20, which I have reviewed, and we'll link to the review down below. And this was my pen of the year a couple of years ago. I think it is just an astounding pen, but it is a big pen. And so he made this Model 2. This particular one uses a PLA plastic that has iron infused in it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I've used it a bunch. I loved it so much that I ordered a second one. And this one is in a standard sort of PLA plastic. There are tons of options for the plastics and color combinations and all that kind of stuff that Michael uses over there. And if you order from him, quite often, depending on the pen model, you can discuss some of those options. But what is really great about this pen, I love the Model 20, but it is, as I said, it's a big pen. It's big in the hand. It's got a great size to it. The Model 2 is the smaller sibling, so it's insanely comfortable in the hand. It is great for everyday writing. It's got a nice sort of lightness to it, but enough weight that it's substantial. It's really, really fantastic. And more to the point, it uses Michael's 3D printed kind of twist filler system. And I'll show it quickly here. So basically, in the body of the pen is a little rubber plastic printed sack, and it's sort of got these spirals, so it'll twist down, and then as it opens back up, it draws ink up into the pen. And then you add on this end the actual piston knob. So you open that out, and you can see there's a rod in there, and then you twist it down, and when you do that, that's compressing that little sack on the inside, and then you open it up, and it draws ink up. You do a few of those, and then you've got a full pen, and then you twist it down, and there it is. And so I've been using this particular one, for the last few weeks. I said to Michael, make me a color combination that pairs really, really well with Waterman Mysterious Blue. This ink is a quiet favorite of mine. I think it performs so well. It's a great everyday ink, super affordable, super widely available, all of that kind of stuff. So he made this one for me based on that. So let's talk about the parts and features. They'll do a writing sample, all that kind of stuff. Top of the pen, we get a little spiral there in the print, and then we get an accent ring where the clip is sort of cut in, and the clip is made of metal, and it's very, very usable. I find no issue with it. This is got a nice sort of fluted, faceted sort of body on it, and the cap swells to the center band, which is another accent with the lighter blue in this case, and then a reddy maroony sort of color, and then the light blue again, and then we step down onto the barrel, which tapers to the accent ring, and then the piston turning knob. It is a twist cap, and it comes off in roughly sort of one-ish turn. Just a little more than one turn. And it's very nicely done. All the threads are 3D printed, of course, as well, all coded, and very, very nice. We then get another accent ring, the threads, and then the section which tapers and then flares to an accent ring. And then in this case, a number 5 Schmidt nib, and it's a medium. And we turn it over, and there is that beautiful feed. A lot of these have been using ebonite feeds, so they are exceptionally wet. This one writes beautifully wet and smooth, and I'm absolutely in love with it. On the end of the pen is another spiral there. That's part of that piston mechanism, which I can't operate entirely here, obviously, because, well, you know, it's filled with ink, but you get the idea. It's all in there. One difference between the larger model and the smaller model is that on the Model 2 here, there's no, like, ink window in there. You know, it's another element that just takes a little bit of extra, you know, sort of work and space, actually, in the manufacturing. The cap is lined with another PLA plastic, allowing for very smooth threads that sort of don't gummy up or anything like that. It also provides a really good tight seal on the pen. I never have any issues with any of Michael's pens sort of drying out. And in this case, it writes flawlessly sort of every time. Michael does a lot of work with the nibs. He never lets a bad nib go out to a customer. So he tests every nib and, you know, does some basic tuning and things like that where needed. Once again, I've never had an issue with a nib from Platypus pens. They are Schmidt nibs, as I said. But Schmidt have been doing some incredible nibs. And for me, they are far more consistent than brands like Bock at the moment. So here I have the Model 2 alongside the Model 20, as well as the traditional Lamy Safari. You can see it's about the same length as a Safari, so even though it is a smaller pen than the Model 20, it's definitely not a small pen. This is a really good sort of like average size pen, standard size pen, shall we say. Uncapped there, you see the difference between the number 6 size nib on the Model 20 versus the number 5 size nib on the Model 2. But in terms of length, once again, still pretty much on par there with the Lamy Safari and, you know, not too much shorter really there than the Model 20. They do post. And the Model 2 is longer there than the Safari. It's much shorter there than the Model 20, which is a big, big pen when posted. I don't necessarily think that the Model 2 here needs to be posted. I think it's a very comfortable pen unposted. It's good everyday pen size, but if you do want to, you absolutely can. So what are the dimensions of the Platypus Pens Model 2? Well, it is 138 millimeters when it is capped. It's 130 when it's uncapped, so, you know, a nice size in the hand, and it's 172 when it's posted. So it's quite a long pen, and you do get a little bit of sort of back weighting there if you hold it properly on the section. If you hold it slightly further back, the balance feels a little bit better. Around the section is about 11 millimeters, and around the middle of the cap is about 15 millimeters. So it's got a nice sort of girth to it as well. The pen weighs a total of 24 grams, 13 in the body and 11 in the cap. A lot of that weight coming from the clip. So as I said, I generally tend to find the balance and the size of this is perfect for writing unposted. Because of that filling system, it's got a good ink capacity of well over 1 milliliter of ink. So you're not going to run out of ink anytime soon. Okay, time for the all-important writing sample here with the Platypus pens. Model 2. This has a steel Schmidt number 5 medium nib, and the ink is Waterman Mysterious Blue. I think this is a gorgeous ink, and I really think when, you know, as I said to Michael, make me a pen that will match with this ink. I think he did a fantastic job. Let's do some writing. It writes so smooth. It's fairly wet, you know, but it's how smooth and how consistent and how lovely this pen is to write with that sets it apart. And this has always been the case with Platypus pens. Reverse writing. It's okay. It's doable. Flex. Look, Schmidt nibs aren't designed for flexing. Also, not every pen is designed to take the stress of flexing. When you flex on a nib that isn't designed for flexing, you're really pushing you know, on the seams of the pen as well. And while these are beautifully, robustly made, you don't want to, you know, put unnecessary stress on any pen. Wetness, I showed that just before, but you know, you can see, writes nice and wet, quick writing. I have no issues. This is very smooth paper. This is 90 GSM, sorry, Clairefontaine paper. So very smooth. You know, a pen with any sort of issues in terms of baby bottom or anything like that will just skip like crazy on this paper. You can see this writes flawlessly. It allows for the shading. It's lovely. Really, really lovely writer. Let's talk about some pros and cons. Okay, I have to say I have very, very little to say in the cons column here. The fact that I purchased, you know, a second one myself after having used this one for quite a while shows that I love a pen. I don't collect pens. I don't collect multiples of pens. There are a few I have maybe 2 or 3 of. And there are a couple of pens, something like the Diplomat Viper. If that comes out in a deep forest green, I will be buying one. But I don't generally collect pens. I like to get, you know, I find a pen I like and a nib I like, and I kind of use that. So to get a second one shows I really enjoy this pen. It's not going to be for everyone. There is a tactile experience with using a 3D printed pen. I understand that. A lot of people aren't going to want plastic pens. I understand that also. But there is so much going for this pen. Something that will be in the neutral column for this pen will be the price. As I'm filming this, this pen isn't yet on the Platypus Pens website, but it's going to retail for about 250 Australian dollars. Now, that may seem a lot for a plastic pen, you know, with a steel Schmidt nib, but can I just break this down for you? Each of the elements of this pen, caps, accent rings, cap bands, filling system, all the elements within the filling system, piston knob, sections, all of that kind of thing have all been designed and coded by Michael himself. Each part has to be printed on its own, then finished in terms of, you know, like the gluing, the trimming, all those kinds of things. Michael does a lot of work for each pen. There's no press enter on the computer, walk away, and there is a printed pen. Every element of this pen is done to minute specifications, all coded by Michael and, you know, assembled by Michael. Each pen takes multiple days to create. So $250, I think, is a remarkably low price. You're getting a beautiful writing steel nib. It writes like a dream. Beautiful wet with a lovely feed, but also an individual custom bespoke filling system within it. And also with a lot of Michael's pens, there you can have a discussion about the colors you want, all that kind of thing, even down to the style of you know, the design on the body, all of that kind of stuff, all can be discussed. So if this is a pen you're interested in, reach out to Michael. If you're interested in any of his pens, reach out to Michael. So what are my personal pros with this pen? Firstly, that nib writes like a dream, writes flawlessly, beautifully, shows off the ink, does everything I wanted it to do. I love the size in the hand. I think it is absolutely stunning. It's not too big to feel like, you know, that you can't carry it or that it's, you know, awkward or anything. But it's also not small enough to feel like a pocket pen or that it's small in your hand. It's got a nice size section. It's got a nice length. It is just a fantastic pen. And then, of course, the fact that it's got that, you know, twist filling mechanism, which is fun to use, but also gives you a really great ink capacity, well over 1 mil of ink, just really fantastic. So there's a lot to love about this pen. It's beautiful, it writes well, and I absolutely love it. So I hope you found this video about the Platypus Pens Model 2 to be interesting and useful. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that kind of stuff. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if you'd like to support the channel, I would really love to hear from you. A big thank you to Michael for supporting my channel over the years by providing a number of pens for me to review and to show you. It's support of brands and makers like Michael, as well as you, my audience, that makes all this possible. So enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.